All right, 90 Day Challengers. So this is video number 4, okay, of phase 2 here. So what we just calculated was our RMR, okay? So I have my individual, RMR is 1430. If you don't know how to calculate that, you go back, get the measurements that you have, go ahead and make that calculation, okay? So once we, well, like we said, resting metabolic rate. So sitting still, all right? Now, as soon as you get up and you start moving around throughout your daily activities, you burn calories, all right? So we want to make sure that we feed, okay, ourselves as we burn those calories, right? So we're going to burn calories through a lot of things: work, daily activity with kids, friends, things like that, and then working out, all right? So we want to add calories back in for those activities that we do so we can function appropriately through those activities, all right? So something to note, we never want to go below this number here ever, okay? So right now, if you guys have been logging your food for the last 30 days, look at where you've been. Are you below this number? If you're below this number, okay, we got to try to get up at least even with that number, if not higher than that a lot of times, okay? So never below this number is the real big goal. If you find yourself going below that, talk to me or your mentor, okay? So let's say that you have a pretty lightly sedentary job, desk jobs, things like that. Let's say that you get up every now and then. You're going to probably burn in the neighborhood in a daily activity anywhere from maybe 200 to maybe 400 calories in a day, okay? So for you guys that have Fitbits, the Apple Watches, or any type of device that tracks your daily calorie intake, this is where you can really use that device to kind of get a gauge on where you're at, all right? So when you use those items, you're talking about your daily expenditure, not counting your workouts. So don't put your workout in that, all right? So you need to see how many calories you're burning throughout the day before you start working out. So let's say that this person I have here has a job that's pretty sedentary, and they, throughout the day, get up a couple times and they burn 400 calories, okay? So 400 calories, all right? And then let's say that person comes in here and works out with us, okay, and is doing the program like it's supposed to be. And let's say when they're in the workout here, their watch tells them that they burn 350, okay? So we got 400, 350, so there's 750 calories that we want to add to our RMR. So don't freak out, everybody. I know everybody's freaking out like, oh my goodness, that's so much, okay? So we're going somewhere with this, okay? So 2180, okay? So that's the calorie intake for this individual for them to get through an entire day. Now, that's a lot of calories for a lot of you guys, and you guys are also freaking out about that a little bit, okay? So here's the thing. This calorie intake is if you were to just want to maintain your weight. So when you guys all get done with the challenge and you get to a point where you're like, hey, I really like this, you would determine this number, and then that's where you just stay, okay? And that helps maintain. Maybe a little fluctuation here, down or up a little bit based off the day and your activity or thereof, lack of, or any activity added in. But if an average day would be 2180, okay? So that's key for maintaining. Now, most of us are in the challenge and we're trying to lose in some sort of regards. So if you're trying to lose, okay, what we want to do is we want to subtract anywhere from 350 calories to about 500 calories from that, okay? Now, if I was to subtract 500, okay, because I want to, like, let's say that I'm looking for a really good strong loss, okay, that ends me at 1680, okay, if you guys can read that, okay, so 1680 is where that puts me at. Now, this is what we call our BMR. So this is my basal metabolic rate. This is my calorie intake for the day in order for me to reach the goal that I have set for myself, okay? So do this calculation here. Here's what I would tell you guys, okay? If you have a pretty sedentary job and you don't have a calculation of some sort to tell yourself where you're at, calories throughout the day, here's what I'm going to give you. So if you have, I'm going to give you kind of examples of these, okay? If you have a very, very sedentary job where you sit in a desk almost the majority of the day, 275 is what I want you to add to your RMR. If you have a job where you're at the desk, but you have a tendency to get up, move around, for instance, maybe you work in a dentist's office and you sit down, but you have to get up and help and you have to move a lot of files around. You've got a big area that you work in, that you're always delivering stuff, okay? 400. 500 if you do a little more things like if you're waitering or if you're on your feet all day, if you're constantly moving around, if your standstill time is less than 5 minutes, okay? So standstill time, if it's less than 5 minutes, you're probably a 500 calorie person. Now, 700 calorie, I don't know if I have anybody that is this, but if you're construction, if you're doing a ton of work, if you are never in a car, you're never sitting still for longer than 2 minutes. Now, if you're in a field where you stand still and you feel like you do a lot of vigorous activity, for instance, let's say you're someone that is in construction, but you wind up in a room and you're in one room for a long period of time. I get it that you're using a lot of shoulders and arms, but you're standing still, so you're not at 700. So 700 would be for somebody that's very, very active. So I don't think there's anybody actually in our program that has this type of calorie needed to add. So you're probably 500, 400, or 275. So those are your gauges there, guys, on what you need to add to your RMR, okay, to determine on what you want to do, okay. Now for workout wise, on workout days, everybody needs to add the 350, okay. That's actually probably low for us, but we're gonna say 350 because we want to make sure we see some really good loss here, okay, guys. So determine your BMR now. You have the calculations. BMRs we're trying to get, okay. See you guys in video number 5.